Hello everyone and welcome to the fifth part of the course. We have finished working with our model. We're going to duplicate the scene, then lower the subdivision level to 1 and hit delete higher. So we'll get a low poly version of our model. Which we'll export from Tools, Export. And we'll save it with the name Low. Perfect. Now let's go to the Web Explorer. In my case, it's Google Chrome. And go to Sketchfab in order to upload this model. Click Upload, choose File, search for the file we just saved. Hit Continue. Name it and fill the details, or we can just hit Continue directly. The reason we exported the model in low poly is because despite Sketchfab being free, it has a premium version, and sometimes if we exceed certain size, we can't upload the model. So, since we're using the free version, we'll upload a low poly version. Perfect. We have the model here with the color on, so let's click 3D Settings. And load some maps, like the normal map or the ambient occlusion map. Let's click Materials. And under Base Color, which is empty, we can import our texture and set the color. In this case, as we can see, the color texture is flipped, so it's not the right orientation. What happened here is that sometimes the texture is exported flipped. So to change these, we go to the 3 textures we created. And we open them in Photoshop. Now we go to Image, Rotate, Flip Vertical, with this one, as well as with the other 2. And now the normal map. And now we overwrite the old files. Now you know what to do as this happens. You can also do it from ZBrush, actually. Just go to Texture. Let's load a texture again. And we can also click Flip V, Flip Vertical, and see? All right. Now let's get back to Sketchfab and load this texture again. We can delete this one now from here. Add the color. Now go to normal map and load it. And now it has this texture. And next, ambient occlusion map. As you see, we're not going to use much maps because our main goal is to work on the glowing objects. And now if you see the ambient occlusion map is too strong, you can lower the opacity so it doesn't look too intense. So now we have this loaded, and what we have to do now in Photoshop is to see where the light emitting textures are, like this blue here, or yellow, as we said. And from there, select only those parts. Alright, so we have already opened the texture in Photoshop, and what we have to do here is to identify the elements that are going to emit light. In this matter, as we said, in the scene we have 3 zones that are going to illuminate the scene, which are these spheres right here that are like fireflies, which are blue. Then the lantern, which has these yellow parts here, which are the ones that will emit light. And then we have the gills of the mushrooms, which are here, and they're painted with almost the same color as the mushrooms themselves, or maybe even the same color. So this part will be a bit more complicated, but we'll see it's easy, and we'll even learn how to change the light's color in Photoshop. So first we'll start with the easy ones, which are the little blue balls. So we go to Photoshop, and we'll see we have a blue element here, which is water. And then these other elements here, which these one here, as well as these others, which are the little spheres, we'll have to select. We can look around and see if there is any more blue elements. This element here will be the character, so we're okay. So for pure logic, we only have to select these elements here. I already have those elements isolated in this layer here, but you just have to go to the color layer and use the magic wand to select the blue parts while holding Shift in order to add to the selection. This here, this one, and this one. Take a look around just in case we missed any more parts. We see we didn't. So now we create a new layer and we copy the selection from the color layer and paste it into the new layer. This way we have these elements isolated. And as I said, I had already done these, but anyway we can create a new layer, put it behind this one, fill it with black. So we isolate these elements here. And well, another element we have to isolate is the lantern's glass, which is right here, these yellow circles. So we switch to Photoshop and we do the same. We navigate to the color layer, analyze this texture, and we see there are some yellow elements, which are these ones here. And at the bottom of the texture, a bit lost and hiding, we have another element. So we have this one here and this one here. Let's proceed as previously, zoom in for a moment and select the magic wand. And we select this one here. Hold Shift to add to the selection. This one here. Let's go to the bottom and select this last bit. Be careful if this happens to you and make sure you select only the yellow part. So let's use the lasso with the minus selection option or holding Alt while making the selection, and then select this zone here, which we don't want to glow, which would actually be the trees we have in the scene. Okay, so we have the yellow part selected. Now it's time to make a new layer again. Select the texture layer, copy, back to the new layer, paste. And now we also have the yellow parts too here. Last, we have to select the gills below the mushrooms, which will probably be more challenging because they're the same color as the rest of the mushroom. But using logic, if we take a closer look, we'll see that it's these parts here on top of the white stems. We painted the stems, and as we can see here, the caps are painted with yellow polka dots, and below it, let's hide these so we can see it better. As I was saying, below the mushrooms is the stem, which is white, and the gills that we set aside in another polygroup, but in this case it's the same color as the mushroom, which we can actually change perfectly in Photoshop and choose this zone to have another type of illumination. In order for this to be easier, we have to know how many mushrooms there are. In this case, there are 12, so we have to find the 12 selections. Let's go to the selection layer, and we can already see there's one here, this one here, nothing here, two here. Careful here with selecting too much texture. So let's deselect the zone. Okay, we have 3 so far. 4, 5, 6. Deselect this part here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right. As you can see, there's nothing else here. So these are the parts below the mushrooms. And now we proceed as before. Control C, new layer, Control V, and now we pasted the mushrooms. Let's put this layer on top. Hide this one. And now we have isolated all the parts that will emit light. I'm going to tidy this up. So let's rename the layers. Yellow parts. Mushrooms. And fireflies. Okay, so we can delete the texture layer. And now, well, it's all about choosing the color of the mushrooms because the others are okay. We want the lantern to glow with the yellow light, and the fireflies or floating light spheres with a blue light. And the mushrooms are the ones we would want to change color. So let's select their layer, double click it, click color overlay, and pick a different color. Let's pick a bright color like this one here, or the one you prefer. And click OK, and that's it. We have to export it in PNG or JPEG. For example, name it Amisor. And save it. Okay, so back to Sketchfab now. And before setting the emission map, let's go to lighting and lower the brightness of the scene so we can appreciate the effect. Set it quite low. Now go to the Materials tab and in Emission Map, enable it. And as you can see, everything illuminates, but we need to load the map now. So click here and we'll import the emission map we just created. Click Open and we'll illuminate those parts in the illumination map. Now for it to look better, we navigate to the Post-Processing Filters tab and we enable Bloom, and by doing this, we can already see those parts in the emission map start glowing. The gills in the mushrooms, the lantern and the spheres. All right, so we'll end this part of the course here. And in the last one, we'll see how to get the image using Sketchfab and get a nice model. So we'll leave it here and see you in a bit.